Hi, my name is Moses Katamani. Welcome to our training program. Our focus is on breaking the icebergs. And breaking the icebergs, we are focusing on challenges that we face in pursuing dreams. And one of the areas we are looking at is building schools as private entity. The truth is that many people desire to build schools, private schools, but they don't know how to go around it. We want to break the icebergs around school development and help people who are willing or who desire to go into proprietorship of schools, and we hope that this program will help all potential entrepreneurs in school development. It is a general program, however, this program is specially to, woo people into believing in why it is possible that they can develop schools of their own and derive benefits from it. And this program is focusing on school development in Africa. I also want to say that I, the presenter, I have had experience in both public and private schools in Ghana and Nigeria, and the presentation is going to bring out examples mainly in these two countries. However, I will try to look at other countries on the African continent. So our topic for today is prospects of private schools in Africa. Prospects of private schools in Africa. When we are talking about the prospects of schools, we are looking at the hope, the potential, the avenues for developing private schools. In the olden days, you will agree with me that most of the schools in Africa were mainly public schools. However, things are changing, and especially in the 21st century, government cannot do it all, and the private person can take advantage of it and develop schools, and it will benefit them a lot. So my first issue to address about the prospects of private schools is focusing on investment into schools or investment into education in Africa. The first thing I want to talk about is the issue of funding. In the 21st century, we can all agree, or you can agree with me, that government budgets are dwindling over the years because of high economic experiences. If we look at investment in education in Africa, I will want to look at a number of countries and how their investment in education is decreasing or is going down. And for example, in Nigeria, in 2021, government investment into education in the whole federation was 5.6 of GDP. And out of that 5.3 GDP, we are looking at 742.5 billion naira. That was a total investment into education in 2021. If you break it down, you will realize that the actual direct investment into education was only 127 billion naira. That was direct capital expenditure. If we look at Ghana's investment into education is also going down, and in 2021 it was 13.9% of GDP. Going forward, if you look at Kenya's investment was 3.9 of GDP, and South Africa was 6.84 of GDP. So you will agree with me that the investment in education in Africa is going down, whilst the projection for UNICEF for investment into education is supposed to be between 15 and 20% of GDP. So with this, you will realize that almost all the countries that I have mentioned, the 4 countries, their investment in education is very low. With this, you will realize that there is a gap to fill, and that gap can be filled by the private sector or the private person who is willing to invest into education in the countries I have mentioned. The second issue to mention, as which bring out the prospects of private entities in education, is the issue of population. The population of Africa or African countries are growing. However, government investment is reducing. The figures I have given in my first point concerning government investment in education in Africa says it all. Why? Because population is growing. However, investment is decreasing. So you will agree that there is so much gap to fill because the population is growing. However, government investment is reducing. Let me give just 2 examples. My main examples, one in Nigeria. Nigeria population is growing so much. However, government investment in education is reducing. The projection is that Nigeria's population is over 200 million. The school-going age is almost about 15% of the population. However, government investment is reducing. So there is so much group of people, there is a number of the population, a percentage of the population which need education. However, they cannot get it. Why? Because government investment has reduced. The third point I want to make concerning investment in education, which are prospects for private sector investment in education, is the issue of preference. from the 21st century, we realize that many parents now prefer private sector education for their children other than private sector education, especially in the lower levels. For example, in Nigeria, majority of parents now prefer primary education and secondary education of their children to be from the private sector. In other words, they prefer their children to attend private schools other than public schools. Why? Because of quality. It has been found out that the quality of education in the private schools is now better than education in the public schools. So another example is in Ghana. In Ghana, majority of parents would want their children to attend basic private schools other than basic public schools, especially in towns and cities. Why? Because of quality. So comparatively, parents are willing to educate their children in the private schools in the lower levels other than in the public schools. That also relates to the fact that in the whole of Africa, over 60 million of the population, in other words, over 60 million of students in the primary and secondary school sector, they are all in the private schools. That means that out of every 4 pupils in Africa, 1 of them is in the private school. That is how we can look at it, that from the first point, investment, population, and the quality of education given in these public schools, parents are preferring to send their children to private schools other than to public schools. The next point I want us to look at in the private sector prospects of education or investment in education is the issue of how fast private schools are growing. We will realize from the analysis I'm trying to do that the growth in private schools is more than the growth in public schools, and the quality of work is better now in the private school other than in the public schools because of investment. Now, the fast growing sector of private schools is an opportunity for anybody who is willing to invest into private school to venture into it, because with the statistics that I brought out, you will agree with me that if private schools are growing faster than public schools, it also means that you can get your investment in the shortest possible time depending on the location of your school. Another point I want to look at is quality of teachers. Let me still go back to investment and the policies that are adopted by governments in Africa in the investment into education. In the former days, and in fact, people like me benefited from the public schools. I have never attended any private school before. However, you will realize that the policies in those days was that when government supports your education in the training college or college of education, after you complete, you will serve and government will directly employ you. However, nowadays the policy has changed. How has the policy changed? For example, in Ghana, before 2016, when you complete training college, public training college, government will employ you into a school, and there is what we call compulsory posting, and you must serve the country or you must serve government for the minimum of 3 to 4 years before you can go to any other sector or even go into further education. However, the policy has changed. Again, in Nigeria, when you go to College of Education and you get your NC, you cannot be employed directly by government after you complete training college or college of education. You have to find jobs for yourself. So you will realize that people are trained. They come out of school, they cannot get job, they fight for job, they cannot get it. So their focus now is on getting jobs in the private sector. Another issue concerning quality of teachers or quality teachers willing to go to private sector rather than public sector is the fact that in some of the countries in Africa, the payment systems are not regular. I work in an area in Nigeria for the past 4 years, and in the public schools for actually about 2-3 years now. In the public schools, especially in the primary section or the primary and SS level, you can see that in some of the states, a teacher in the public school may not be paid for 2 to 3 months, and the fact is that even some of them, when they are paid, they are not giving the full payment of their salaries. So I discovered that some of the quality teachers in public schools, because of the challenge of regular salaries, they are willing to go to the private schools or teach in the private schools other than the public schools. With these points and many others that we can look at, you will realize that if you parent, many of the parents have discovered that if they want a better future for their children, in other words, a good education for their children, then they must send their children to private schools. And this is what brings out the opportunity. Another thing I want to say before this lecture or this discussion comes to an end is the fact that some parents also are sending their children out of Africa to other schools in Europe, America. Why? Because the public schools, public universities, some of them, the quality is not there. So if you are willing and you are ready to invest into education, a private institution in education, the possibility is that in the shortest possible time, you can get dividends out of your investment. Finally, this program, as I said, is for private school development. And there are about 16 topics that we can handle or we can discuss in order to help us to get into, to have confidence to invest into private school. We are going to look at topics like the history of private schools. We are going to look at how to start, how to establish structures, and all this, I believe, will help you in developing your school and getting dividends out of it. Now, so this, before I end this discussion, take note, this is Campbell International Group, and we are breaking icebergs. And this iceberg is focusing on breaking the icebergs or debunking the mind of people concerning investment in private schools. This will, I'm sure it will help you if you follow us. If you are willing to get into investment in a private school, Campbell International Group is willing to support you. We can also become your partner and we will help you achieve your goal and get your investment. I have done it for over 4 years for a school. Even though there were challenges, we had a minimum achievement. And so if you want to contact us on WhatsApp, you can get us on 07050579212. The WhatsApp number again, 07050579212. You can link with us. You can email us on info@campbellgroup.com, or you can go to our website. Our website is campbellgroup.com, and you will be able to send message to us concerning the program and you will benefit a lot. Remember, at Campbell, we anchor vision and mission. Follow us and I am sure you benefit so much from this course. Thank you.